Thank you, Rick. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's quite a task on its own to have 20 minutes to share an experience which has been very, very interesting and exhilarating. If I were to do a presentation, I could give you 40 slides of pure, not PowerPoint, but graphics, photographics, showing where we came from, where we've reached, and the actual implementation, benchmarks, milestones attained over the course of the period. But 20 minutes is too short, and there are two of us, so I'll just give some preliminary remarks. Yes, indeed. The first two speakers have talked well about why the single window. Like Rick said, go for it. It's been quite a very interesting experience for it. We benefit for it, so please go for it. The presentation by my colleague will talk about the implementation arrangements adopted, why we chose to do a certain type of the models that were there, why we chose to have customs as the lead agency that will do the implementation out of the possible 2, 3, or 4 scenarios that you could adopt. Because single window encompasses a whole range of issues, but we chose to use customs because we decided we adopted a gateway program whereby customs was to be a lead agency that would drive the single window process. Implementation of the single window is, you face a number of challenges. They're quite daunting, but I believe there was even the pessimism within the country. It said, this is not doable, as just Rick said. The infrastructural challenges, the skill set requirements, the resource restraints. If you have a system that is being deployed right on the border of the frontier, we say Cote d'Ivoire or Burkina Faso, virtually no man's land. With hardly any infrastructure, that means it is quite challenging. Implementation of the single window in Ghana has required certain critical factors. A project champion, the political will, the resource requirement, not subject to any government budgetary constraints that we have to go to the Ministry of Finance or the Budget Division to look for money. A fee-paying structure that has ensured sustainability, that we've been able to continuously innovate, change like the Singaporean experience that you just learned about. It requires innovation, and continuous innovation requires resource and investment. How have we been able to do that? A project champion. I'm pleased to know that the Mozambican presentation, we have in this very audience a key project champion who believed in it, who followed it from right there. He's sitting right in front of me here. And now in Mozambique, it's a reality. That happened in Ghana as well. People believe in it and they push for it. Yes, I said it's daunting, but the experience is certainly worthwhile. Trade flows have increased. We've taken advantage of it. There was a crisis in Cote d'Ivoire. We were able to take advantage and facilitate transit system. Like Rick said, we were the first to launch quite a trailblazing role in the sense that we're the first to adopt the unique consignment referencing number by the World Customs Organization. We're the first to launch electronic transit tracking of goods. And it's not that we adopted 5 years ago, we stuck there. There's continuous innovation. We've changed the system so that continuous improvement. There are lessons to be learned. It can be replicated, and I believe whilst you are here, you draw useful lessons in implementing into your various countries as well. From a purely customs clearance process point of view, it is encompassed oil and gas declarations. Now that Ghana is an oil producer, it is encompassed data mining of the data for statutory reporting requirements. It's encompassed monitoring the system for intelligence and compliance requirements, etc. I believe my colleague, Ms. Bainiah, would give you the full details. And during the questions and answers session, you would have it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'll start the presentation with a brief overview of where we came from, Ghana's trade facilitation agenda, and the modernization of Ghana customs, and Ghana government's acceptance of the single window concepts, and the selection of the trade net, the structure of our system, the capabilities of the system, the services that are provided by the system, and the deployment approach, which was a phased approach. I believe the speaker from Singapore talked about that, the benefits, the critical success factors, the accolades that we have won, and the challenges and constraints, the way forward, and then I shall conclude. Now, how did it all start? As early as 1983, the government of Ghana decided to propel the economy from a low-income status to a middle-income status. However, by the mid-90s, the results that were expected hadn't been achieved. So the government developed an alternate strategy, and that was Vision 2020. This Vision 2020 was designed to promote the flow of foreign capital and resources into Ghana and provide infrastructure services of international quality to investors. Now, to realize the objectives of Vision 2020, the government of Ghana instituted the Ghana Trade and Investment Gateway Program. Now, the program objectives were to make Ghana the trade and investment gateway to West Africa, in order to make Ghana the most preferred and the most efficient investment and trade destination in West Africa. And also, one of the main objectives was also to increase the participation of the private sector in the development of the national economy. Now, the Gateway Project, under the Gateway Program, was established in 1999, and the primary objectives were to attract a critical mass of export-oriented investors that was needed to accelerate economic development, and also to provide a conducive investment environment and to facilitate trade. Now, this required the modernization of frontline government agencies, which are the first points of contact by investors, to re-engineer them into trade facilitators. Now, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, it used to be Customs, Excise, and Preventive Service then, was one of these institutions. At the time, that was in the middle of the 1990s, there was a lot of dissatisfaction by the business community with the inefficient and outdated procedures and policies of Ghana Customs. And indeed, an institutional audit that was conducted by Crown agents revealed that the customs regulations were too complex to comply with. The clearance procedures were complex, cumbersome, and time-consuming, resulting in delays in entry processing. There were also too many human interventions, and there was too much paperwork. There were also high error rates in import entries submitted to customs. The report also included that at the time, the Customs Division did not have the tools, methodology, or corporate culture to deliver service in a manner that was consistent with the Gateway Project objectives. It was realized that the Ghana Customs had to be modernized, to enable it to play its role as a trade facilitator, in addition to its traditional role of a revenue collector and enforcer of government regulations. At the time, the government of Ghana recognized that IT could be used as an enabler to make the dramatic improvement that we needed in the delivery of services and to facilitate trade. One of the major deliverables under the Gateway Project was therefore the implementation of an automated customs system. Government mandated customs to build a system that was capable of networking the trading community and government agencies to a common platform to facilitate sharing and exchange of information, and ultimately to enhance efficiencies in the operations of the trading community. And this is the single window concept. Now, the government selected the TradeNet system to provide a single entry point of entry for submission of documents and to exchange and share data and information amongst the trading community. The Ghana system is known as the GCNet GCMS. GCNet stands for Ghana Community Network, and the GCMS stands for Ghana Customs Management System. A public-private partnership arrangement was put in place to implement and manage the system. The system was rolled out in 2002. Now, this system was introduced to facilitate trade and clearance of goods through customs in a secured manner. It was also introduced to enhance mobilization of trade-related revenue for governments and to minimize malpractices associated with the import and export trade. It was also introduced to reduce transaction costs and delays trade operators encounter in doing business. So the system is made up of two complementary systems. The TradeNet, which is an EDI platform for transmission of electronic messages between trade operators and customs on one hand and other regulatory agencies on the other. And then, of course, we have the Ghana Customs Management System, which is the automated system for processing customs declarations electronically. Now, this is the structure of the system. It's made up of two main servers, the TradeNet server and the GCMS server. They are connected by a fiber optic cable. The trading community is connected to the TradeNet server, and the customs offices are connected to the GCMS server. So before GCNet, if you had to do business with customs and you needed documents like exemption or permit certificates from the agencies, from the ministries, departments, and agencies, what the WCO call cross-border regulatory agencies, you had to shuttle from one agency to the other. But the TradeNet is doing this. It has networked all parties to a common platform, and this is facilitating the exchange and sharing of information amongst the various parties. Now, let's talk about the capabilities of the system. The system provides a single platform, as I've already said, for processing trade-related documentation. It allows for 24-hour, 7-day submission of declarations and documents. It also provides a platform for centralized verification of entries. It provides a risk management module for profiling consignments into risk categories. It also provides systematic monitoring of consignment movements. It also facilitates post-clearance audits to account for consignments. And it processes all customs regimes. It also provides real-time statistics and revenue reconciliation, and an audit trail facility to monitor officer compliant performance. You can actually monitor, what officers do on the system. It has the capacity to also audit transactions promptly. And of course, it's transparent. The services provided by the single window. Yes, it provides for processing of manifests and distribution. It accepts manifests from the shipping agents and then processes the manifest and distributes it to the parties, all parties concerned or interested. It also processes valuation reports, what we call final classification and valuation reports, which are issued by the destination inspection companies. It also issues permits and exemption certificates by regulatory bodies. Now, this gives, this is the real single window aspect of it, in the sense that the ministry departments and agencies, who are the regulatory bodies, are connected to the system, and they issue these permits and exemptions electronically through the system. We also have a valuation assurance module. It also processes the tracking of goods in transit, and this comes along with satellite tracking of transit goods. There's also electronic validation of used vehicles. And of course, it processes declarations and distribution of declarations. We have two types of declaration: the standard declaration and the head load declaration, which is a simplified declaration for the informal traders, small-time traders at the borders. So you find this system in operation at the borders. For such declarations, we don't have customs house agencies submitting the declaration to the system. Customs officers actually capture the data into the system. The system also provides access to statistics by various stakeholders using data mining tools. So there are stakeholders who are not involved in the clearance process, but access the system to retrieve information. We also have the customs release and electronic delivery order. These are the current system users. We have the Port Authority, shipping lines, 87 of them, customs house agents, 771 of them, commercial banks, freight terminals, airport freight handling operator, the central bank, oil marketing companies, the driver and vehicle licensing authority, the shippers authority. All bonded warehouses are connected to the system. And the ministries, departments, and agencies, 28 of them, about 14 of them are connected to issue certificates and exemptions, and the rest are using data mining tools to extract information. Now, we use a phased deployment approach. The system was first deployed in November 2002 at the airport. Subsequently, it was deployed at the Tema ports and other offices in Accra in 2003. It is now deployed in all 10 regions of the country. Now, above sites process about 98% of the total declarations. Over the years, modules have been added and enhanced. The enhancements have been done to respond to requests from users and changes in the business environment. We also had a technological upgrade of GCMS1, which used to be a DOS-based system, to GCMS2, which is a Windows-based system. And this was introduced on April 6, 2009. We've also upgraded the MDA application to a new MDA portal. This was done in October 2009. What are the benefits? Benefits have been substantial in terms of increase in government revenue, which has grown by which grew by 50% when it was first deployed. In subsequent years, there has been an average growth of 23% in government revenue. This has been possible through plugging of sources of revenue, leakage, and transparency of operations. We've also had faster clearance time through speed of processes and elimination of unnecessary paperwork and human interventions. At KIA, that is the Kotoka International Airport, now we can clear goods in a day as against pre-GCNS situation of 2 to 3 days. And we have 1 to 3 days clearance time at Tema Port as against a pre-GCNS average time of 2 to 3 weeks. In Takoradi, consignments are cleared in 1 day as against a pre-GCNS situation of 2 days. It's also, because of all these benefits and so on, this has portrayed a professional image of customs. And it has also improved staff working conditions through upgraded infrastructure, because anywhere we go, we need to upgrade the infrastructure to take care of the new way of doing business. What have been the critical success factors? We can confidently say that the first one is because we had well-defined goals and strategies, and we use a strategic management approach as well. We also have a balanced selection of complementary partners with unique strengths and effective project champions who had absolute conviction that the project could work. I mentioned that GCNet is a PPP arrangement, and we have partners from the public sector as well as a private sector. We had political support and commitment, from government through the Gateway Oversight Committee. In fact, the chairman of the Gateway Oversight Committee was the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. There was also management support and commitments. There was actually a performance contract that was signed between the management of customs and the Gateway Oversight Committee. One of the success factors has also been the regular and extensive sensitization and consultations with stakeholders in the form of meetings, workshops, and open fora. And as my colleague indicated, we have a sustainable self-financing arrangement in the public-private partnership approach. And especially at the land borders, where we have telecommunication challenges, GCNet has had to develop network infrastructure. The accolades. Our system has been well acknowledged by the World Bank, It has also become a reference in the region, and the private-public partnership approach that was adopted has become a model for the e-governance projects in Ghana. The challenges. The major challenge, and this has been mentioned earlier, is overcoming the human factor. The ensuring high level of compliance among trade operators and agents, and also overcoming seeming reluctance of some regulatory agents to interface with system and enhance trade facilitation. This has also been mentioned by the speaker from Singapore. And one major challenge is the absence of complementary electronic systems for internal operations of the government agencies that are connected to the system. The way forward is to deploy all functionalities of the MDA portal, which we have deployed, the full deployment of Ghana Integrated Cargo Clearance System, the implementation of the second phase of the Unique Consignment Reference Project. We implemented the UCR in 2010, and that was phase 1 of it. We have just implemented phase 2. It's in progress. We also intend to strengthen collaboration with neighboring countries, customs administrations, for improved transit control process. And we need to connect with these countries. If they deploy national single window systems, we'll have an international single window in the sub-region. Continuous sensitization and education of officers and trade operators is also very essential. The GCNet system, our system, has substantially transformed and modernized our customs procedures and processes. And this has resulted in increased revenue collection, reduction in clearance times, and greater compliance by stakeholders. It has also facilitated trade and investment promotion in Ghana. Our experience has shown that it is a gradual, the development of and implementation of a single window is a gradual and long-term process involving several initiatives and organizational rearrangements. However, it is possible to roll out such a complex system with the right capabilities and approaches. Thank you very much.